Santos. Majordomo, in his opinion at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh yes, he will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Please, filth. You're under arrest.
Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience. Your Grace.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
And that about catches us up to where we were when OBS disconnected. I have no idea what's going on with that. That's like twice this week. Once a week is not ideal, but not unexpected for a stream to disconnect, but twice in 1 week? And only a couple of days apart? That is weird. I don't know if it's a RAM. Because it's all been cutscenes so far, you know? There hasn't been like any like major graphically, computationally extensive stuff going on. It could be Comcast. Comcast doesn't mind a surgical throttling now and again. So I wouldn't be surprised. The bitrate is fantastic. It could just be random. Could be the server, could be OBS, could be the computer, could be Comcast. Could be a number of things, but the important thing is it's back up now.
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Lemon
Would
seed.
you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
Then make a deal?
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right?
Could be the German guy with the glasses. It could be
You know
Werner.
Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to
It
you.
could very well be
Let me
Werner.
get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
Reporting
And if
directly
Mr.
to him
Vogel is not a suspect?
has me worried.
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Funny thing
Let's
is,
make a start then.
we already are. We've been
Partner.
deputized by the police already.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
Oh, the scoop before the raid for John. So that was my only win of opportunity to do the scoop. Or you failed the
I
challenge.
can't go back to prison.
Alright, what have we got now? Gifted cufflinks from Manchios, the police investigation. During a raid on the Manchios mansion, Oswald freed me. Opening the archives during my investigation. And they have imprisoned Vogel. Pinchetti is a major domo. Is that why the murderer cleaned their self? Themself, surely. So, a couple of things that are really sus. One, that the common police raided the rich and influential in the first place. And immediately, they've arrested Vogel and me on the charges. But especially Vogel. I think maybe this is all one big setup, you know? That whoever did the murder dressed themselves as a guest, led the party, reported the murder to the police. Maybe using the trappings of the ritual murder aesthetic to make it like, oh, there's this big non-Christian unholy murder cult going on here. Hence the immediacy and the guns and the shotguns and the truncheons. And it's possible, it's entirely possible that the Zodwall's fellow is dirty, and that's why he wants me reporting directly to him. But he knew my mom, so it could be nice. Provider of this ticket has permission to inspect all evidence on case number 6260. Report number 6260. Following a report from a witness of the satanic ritual, who claimed to have found the body, the raid on the Manchios mansion was granted. It resulted in the arrest of multiple suspects and dispersal of the group in mass in robes caught in the act of gross indecency and unnatural behavior. The body of the victim was found lying on an altar with a knife wound in his chest. The officers identified the victim, Fabio, 20, a local performer and artist. Arrested suspects, V. Vogel. V. Vogel has a letter of an insulting nature in his possession, which had been written by the victim. In his possession, written by the victim. He claims to have found the body. He is infamous for his eccentric personality. Holmes carried a murder weapon, a dagger with the victim's blood, and other items of evidence. He was invited by another suspect, V. Vogel, presumably to obstruct the official investigation. K. Manchios, the owner of the mansion and organizer of the satanic party, paid the victim to participate in the ritual, had access to the crime scene. Matista, Fabio's partner and participant in the ritual, tried to escape, resisted arrest, owned a book with a description of the ritual performed in the altar room. Some of the guests are temporarily detained for further questioning, and others have been dispersed, and the major domo is not on the list. So my thinking is that the person who found the body, let's say, the person who produced the body and then ran to the police, wouldn't be among the suspects then, since these people were found at the party, bludgeoned, and then dragged in. Resisted arrest, tried to escape, but Matista was the one who reported it. Then she wouldn't be in this condition. So it could be that the murderer is not among this list. What it also could be is a trick of the timeline. Murderer murders, sets up the scene, unlocks the door, and leaves the body, having dressed as a guest to mingle, or at least dressed as a guest, left elsewhere, resumed their own outfit and uniform, and mingled. And then at some point, the major domo comes in, or somebody comes in, sees the body, freaks out because they weren't involved, runs to the police, fills them in. Meanwhile, Sherlock comes in, talks to Vogel, who has since seen the body also, and is really freaked out. And then after all that is when the police are like, oh dang, that happened, and all raid in. So being on the list wouldn't necessarily mean they didn't do it. It could be Manchios, it could be Matista. It could be the Major Domo. It could be somebody with access to these people, and thus access to their keys.
Back on track to solve the case.
Witness deposition. I, Santos Pinchetti, it was a Major Domo, am a witness who reports a suspicion of murder at Manchios Mansion in Grand Surrey. During preparations for the social party, I heard loud noises from the closed altar room. Immediately, I thought of the sacrifice of a living being, overviewed by none other than Kurt Manchios. Heard loud noises in the closed altar room. You thought of the sacrifice, overviewed by none other than Kurt Manchios. There was blood on the walls, strange symbols, and a dagger in the heart. As soon as I was able to think clearly, I rushed to the police station to report my findings. Heard loud noises from the closed altar room, and thought of the sacrifice of a living being. Closed ritual room, you thought of a sacrifice, and yet you saw blood on the walls, symbols, and a dagger in the heart. Was it closed or no? Did you go in or no? That's vague. And as soon as I was able to think clearly, what if the Major Domo was high on psychotropics himself, did this, and then he came down, didn't even realize it was him? The station responded to the deposition by sending a patrol, while the witness left the station and went home. A patrol? All that was a patrol? Evidence ticket. Key to interrogation rooms 5 and 6. Mind Palace. Santos Pinchetti informed the police. Pinchetti, the Major Domo. Pinchetti's a suspect, who should be arrested and questioned. He had a key, which was not mentioned in the disposition. Cover. Ritual murder, still not enough to say either way. Cleaned their cells. Not because Major Domo. Vogel is held because of the letter. Definitely does not go to cleanse themselves. Assaulted in the nearby room because of the letter? No? I can't link anything to anything. Oh well. Santos is a suspect.
Look, I found Werner.
4 and 5, right? What time is it? Now that the stream is disconnected, like 14 minutes ago, my break every 2 hours has been disrupted.
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. The new blood here.
Manchios,
If you
could you quit
cooperate
hitting
in
on
finding
Jones?
Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the boars again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble?
Quit
I would
talking
be
about
so
Jones's
indebted
tongue.
and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
Of course, you got so
I
much
need
to
to
do in the
examine
cell.
it first.
I bet he wants to be examined by young Sholmes with his sharp tongue. Where's makeup? To hide his pox. Red spots behind the head, rash from exposure to hair dye. Oh, he likes to make himself look younger. We got a Markiplier on our hands here. Look, I'm sorry, but when I was introduced to the content of Markiplier, I was like, who is this? Link some videos. And all I saw was like someone who looks 40, but acts and dyes his hair to look hip with the younger crowd. Which I guess works for the branding, but it was weird to me. Soap under fingernails, washed hands in a hurry. Maybe he handled the body and was shaken and left. Or it could be wine, or I don't know, plenty of reasons to wash your hands. Maroon shoes. Who wears maroon shoes? Quality polished leather, lavishly expensive. So, does he hide his age? Kurt Manchios is extremely rich, eccentric, and frivolous. He is the organizer of the parties of Cordoda's elites, and the owner of Manchios Mansion. He spends his life in the company of similarly overprivileged people. However, Mr. Manchios wishes to hide his true age from the younger participants of his parties. He is concerned with aging to the point where he uses makeup and hair dye to look younger. Or is he merely a stickler for cleanliness? His being sociable in this manner has made him cautious regarding his health. He uses chemicals and hair dye to clean and improve himself to the extent that it damages his skin. I think he's hiding his age, but I shall press the initiate voting button. 40 seconds. Is he a old man who hides his age to impress his younger partygoers? Or does he merely want to be clean? And all the chems are damaging his beautiful skin? Oh no, I can't push a button. I see the vote, but I can't vote. They put in measures to preserve democracy. Oh well. I think he's hiding his age. No, but the game shows cautious regarding health. What if I don't want to accept it? What if I want something else then? Alright, fine. We'll pretend he's merely health conscious.
You are so focused on cleanliness that these products are severely damaging your skin.
I would laugh at you. Ha! If only my cheeks didn't hurt.
I want to hear the right answer though.
Not exactly. I try to take care of my body. A young man who has yet to confront his own aging couldn't hope to understand.
Exactly, see, the aging
These
was the right
chemicals
answer.
are quite literally melting your face.
Ah, the price of beauty. I'll be fine. I'm sure of it.
Such a methodical man
What
who
if you're
cares
fresh
for
on
his
this?
body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like?
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances
That's a
were
trophy.
flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
I'd like to know more about the event first.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Frogwares, I want to file for sexual harassment from the suspect.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true laborers, I see.
And why Vogel?
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's
Is it?
capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
Evidence time. What to show him? The erroneous profile. Because I guess where there's no votes, it just takes one at random. Invitation from Vogel. Start from the top. Santos as a suspect.
You'd better ask someone else.
No? You don't talk about Santos? What about Santos' deposition?
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine.
Pinning it
He
on
has dared
Santos
to
already?
besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
He hasn't mentioned that he has a key. Rich, eccentric, controlling. Keys to interrogations 5 and 6. Anything about the report?
You
No?
better ask someone else.
What about Vogel being a suspect? Got thoughts on that?
You'd better ask someone else.
Vogel's testimony?
That's not something I know much about.
The murderer's key.
You'd better ask someone else.
Come on, thought the boy wants to talk to you about the keys. The murder itself?
I've no idea about that.
The smoking lounge?
I've no idea about that.
The cufflinks that you gifted him.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
Well, you see,
You've
there's a
thrust a
thing he
knife
does
in an
with his pinky.
exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Sounds like he was already made. He was like the beauty desired by all, wasn't he? Gifted cufflinks because he wanted to express his gratitude to Fabio. Maybe it was him. Maybe he couldn't stand that Fabio was desired by others who had free access to him. Manchios had feelings for Fabio. Washing routine and scrupulously clean. Carefully prepares himself for depravity. Murderer cleaned themselves. Manchios, possible. Wash himself after the murder. The ritual murder of what you want to be your boyfriend. He had feelings for Fabio, who was assaulted in the nearby room. Santos informed the police. Goes to nothing. He had feelings for Fabio, and thus he cleaned yourself. He had feelings for Fabio, and not the major domo. Okay, need more evidence. Need more mental landmarks. 5 and 6. Who's in room 6? You must be the other one. Matista?
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body,
She's a cutie.
yes, it's Matista.
This body's Matista.
But it's a mere shell that will die someday.
Ah.
Just like Fabio.
She's having feels. His end was predictable. No, condolences. We shall be empathetic, Holmes.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
She's got a tattoo. Alright. Fabio also had a slave tattoo. Wonder what that was about. Maybe that links back to things. Because this seems like a sincere tattoo, right? Primitive occult tattoo. Kind of a rude way to put it. Neck has a line. Blood-filled bruises obtained recently. Probably part of the debauchery. Oh, she's also got the same tattoo. Burn mark inflicted with the branding iron. A K, like K Manchios. Do you think maybe Manchios wanted ownership of these people? Fabio and Matista. How old is the brand? Oh no, she's been cutting. Self-inflicted, old and healing cuts. Bitten nails, nervous. And I'm guessing this is rope, isn't it? Shackle scars, old and barely visible. If the shackle scars are about the same time as the the brandings, then probably not K Machios brand. Unless he keeps people shackled up. Matista, is she dissociated from her body? The performer and Fabio's partner, she has had a difficult life. She was branded and enslaved while still a child. While enslaved, she met Fabio, hence their similar branding. Old scars are the result of her slavery during adolescence. She continues to be haunted by these traumatic experiences. She seems to be pragmatic about her body after years of abuse. She sells herself to the guests, who do whatever they want to her. She is not afraid to step over the line. Also, Matista marks her body with ink. Or does she punish herself for the past? Genuine interest in mysticism, since she has tattooed her body with occult symbols. Matista tries to get over her past, and the life of a performer seems to be an opportunity for her to earn money. I don't know. Maybe she is dissociated. More than she is just seeking the hustle, you know?
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Unwanted, so not the
Cult
hustle.
deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
I don't think she's a suspect. I don't see her murdering her old friend. The bruises, must we ask?
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite. Sometimes.
And now what else to ask her?
I know I can handle the news.
Also, I'm not sure we need the outfit anymore. There we go. Mining palace for sacrificial lamb. Matista has fresh bruises. Matista's activity at the party. Suffered bruises for the guests during her ritual. Ooh. Oh no. It's going to be, were the bruises from the party guests or from Fabio defending himself, right? What if it was, what if this was like operatic tragedy and Fabio, who has become seduced by the decadence of this lifestyle, attacked her, and then she had no choice but to attack back? Maybe hit him with a bottle in self-defense? And then, oh no, this is bad, he's going to die. What could I do? This is going to come back to me. I hate what these people do to him and to I. So, while he's here, dying on the floor, drag him to the altar, and then make it look like it's... what's his name? Macchiato's ritual, that he did it, pin it on him. Fresh bruise. From the assault, it's opened up as possibility. During their fight in the smoking lounge, Fabio bruised Batista. It's a possibility, but it's not there yet. Activity at the party, fresh bruises. Fabio bruised Batista, or bruised by the guests? Everything conflicts. So I guess these are set up. If it's ritual murder and Fabio bruised Batista, then I guess that's for Batista's new occult gods. I don't think Batista would have sacrificed Fabio to occult gods. I think that if she killed him at all, then it would have been self-defense. And it might be cheated to go by mechanics, but if Batista killed Fabio, then that seems to contradict the ritual was a cover. It's using cheaty methods, but I think it's safe to say that Fabio did not attack Batista, who had to attack back in self-defense, and then use the opportunity to use a ritual as a cover. Because that was my thinking. That's the only way that Batista would have killed her friend and partner. Maybe murder, which isn't contradicted by the ritual being a cover. But ritual murder contradicts bruised by guests and Manchio murder. I don't know, man. That's just giving me answers. Okay. Casebook. Character portrait, profile, former slave, and has a past history together with Fabio. Anything more we could ask him
I
about?
can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
What a bunch of losers.
Who's this?
Werner, are you
Oh,
alright?
Werner!
Oh, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion.
Didn't recognize him in the light.
My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with a constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must.
What
I
if we
wonder,
can't act?
suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence?
No.
Would that not be just?
I wouldn't lie for you.
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give
That's
up.
not
hope.
a denial, Holmes. Okay, Batista. Talk about Batista.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
No?
I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
You want to talk to us about Kurt Manchios?
I don't think I can tell you anything about
The
this.
cufflinks.
I don't think I can tell you anything
Tell
about
us about
this.
Kurt.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
Tell us about the possibility of Santos being a suspect.
I'm not supposed to know anything about this.
You're not supposed to know. Ooh. The investigation.
I can't follow you here.
The witness deposition.
Do I know him?
Oops.
The major domo of the
So we
manor.
can't talk about Santos.
He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
So you don't... Wait, is that all you can talk
I
about?
know you can untangle this mess.
That's it. Santos is a suspect. Evidence ticket. No idea who the man is. Alright, so where's evidence? They look like a bunch of old grandmas. They're still partying! Inspectors. They're having the time of their life. Archive. Alright. Is there evidence? Where's the ticket?
You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer.
Vogel?
I've nothing to say about this. I've nothing to say about this.
Not that I'm
You'd better ask me a
Batista.
question I know how to answer.
Manchios.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this. You'd better ask me a question
What
I
about
know how to
Santos?
answer.
We talk about Santos?
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
Heads. Why
As
had to
a
drag the
major
bodies
domo,
did.
he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here.
Nice. Easily done.
They brought him in, Mr.
That was
Holmes.
quick.
Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not sitting around here. It's about 10 minutes early for my usual break, but I'm gonna take one anyway because this tea is so delicious, folks. Would you just warm it in coconut juice? I'm using like half the can for 1 cup of tea, and it's so delicious. I am sorry. I betrayed myself. But yeah, gonna take care of this. So BRB for a second, and then 2 hours every here on out. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. we go. Just a short break. So much work just to fit hat and headphones at the same time. Alright. That button's on, that button's on. Guess we're good then.
You can question Mr. Pinchetti in the interrogation room.
Interrogation room 7, he said, yeah? 4, 3, 6, 7. He doesn't look too wayfish. Actually, he does look kind of on the younger side. But he's got a firmness to his shoulders and the way that his hands are clenched. He has it in him, I think.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know.
Well, not too young.
I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found.
There
I
are
need
gaps
only
in
to
his
find
testimony.
if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
You
I
went
doubt
home.
the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
Unless he lives at work. Observe. He's got those dead eyes. And he parts his hair in the middle. How's his neck? Lines on his neck? Is that from the starch of the collar? Or is that from being throttled by your boss? Psoriasis or allergy? Are his clothes less than perfect? Dyed textile, colored more than once, so he can't afford new ones. He's got to keep on refurbishing the old stuff. Repaired multiple times. Is he married? Or is he confirmed bachelor? He's missing a pinky. No, wait, there it is. Blood on the shoe. So he wasn't just in the doorway then, he was in the room. Stepped in blood. There was a blood smear on the door frame on the bottom part. So is this a terrible miser? Santos Pinchetti is a head servant at the Mancio's mansion. Despite being employed at the highest position within the household, he appears to be poor. Despite having enough money, Mr. Pinchetti spends as little of it as possible. Cheap makeup hides imperfections on his body. In an attempt to look more modern, Mr. Pinchetti has dyed his suits several occasions. To save even more money, the Major Domo appears to have personally repaired multiple holes in his suit. Or is he having financial difficulties? His body shows symptoms of psoriasis. Mr. Pinchetti hides his damaged skin under layers of makeup. The Major Domo's suit had multiple holes that had been patched or sewn. To renovate the suit's look, Mr. Pinchetti has dyed it. I'm gonna make the executive decision and say he's having financial troubles. Maybe that's motive for the murder?
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide, under heavy makeup, a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
I do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary
It's
needs.
not that easy,
One
Sherlock.
can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
Don't tell me it's
I
wine.
don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Really? That is your cheap excuse. It's maybe a guest blood. Are we counting Fabio as a guest? Do performers count as guests?
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest,
So we are counting them as
and
guests?
cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious.
Is that
Mr. Manchios
resentment?
always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always, Fabio-centric?
Bitterness.
Ametista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr.
mutual
Manchios used
respect
to
for
see her
Batista
as
not
a
to.
worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
So, Matista, I think, is innocent in this. She and Fabio were close. Fabio refuses to work without her.
Please let me out.
Are these his affairs?
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
So he does have the key. Kurt Manchios' will and note. Excuse me, why do you have Kurt Manchios' will? A small note attached to the will says, Santos, my hopeful slug. You begged me to include you in my will, so I did. Hey Mason. Oh, you're wearing my falling reverse shirt. Here's my latest revision of the will. Kurt. The text of the will under the note. Santos Pinchetti, the major domo of the Manchios mansion, receives a jar of mustache wax and a salt lump, that he might always remember his caring employer Kurt Manchios. I was gonna wonder if there's suddenly a revived will. If maybe it's a fraudulent one, and Pinchetti put himself in, but if all he's getting is mustache wax and a salt lamp. I think he's got huge resentment. Fabio is the only person that the boss cares about. And the major domo, who's got to clean up after everything, is paid below his means, and as a final insult, is getting nothing. He's getting nothing in the will. A lamp and mustache wax. Santos. Blood on the shoe. Murder cleaned themselves, but didn't get the shoe. Missed the blood splatter. Failed to notice a blood stain on the side of a shoe while cleaning himself with the murder. Breach was a cover. That's all pointing to Pinchetti. Letter with Fabio. Blood on Pinchetti's shoes. He informed the police. He accidentally stepped in blood. I don't think he did, because all the blood was in two places. The smoking room, where the bludgeoning took place, and immediately around the altar. So he would have had to walk all the way to the altar before running off. I think it was deliberate. So, about this will a note.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle,
Really?
and I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love,
JW's
cleaning
polite.
up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
It's
Is it that
tragic,
bad?
but
You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, He paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
So I have lots and lots of evidence now. Santos being the disinherited heir who gets nothing as a beneficiary, while his uncle's pretty young plaything gets everything. Gets expensive gifts. Mox Pinchetti. Kurt Manchios gets expensive gifts to feelings from Fabio. Really? That doesn't connect? Manchios Mox Pinchetti and gets expensive gifts. Major Domo. Santos Pinchetti's efforts were in vain when forced to work for Kurt Manchios in the desperate hope of attaining heritage, but it hasn't paid off. Which was a cover. Pinchetti Miss Blood Splatter. I think it's coming together. Everyone could be accidentally doing things. It was a cover, Matista bruised by guest, Manchios was only prepping for debauchery, Pinchetti only stepped by accident, everything to implicate Vogel.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Matista, could we talk to you about the relationship?
I know I
you two?
can handle the news.
No? Talk to you about your nephew. About Santos?
You'd better ask someone else. That's not
You don't
something
talk
I
about
know much
Santos?
about.
Will a note?
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him. I shouldn't have to provide for him.
He's your
He's a
nephew.
grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck.
You acknowledge
he
him then.
conceives himself as my only heir.
Is he not?
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
As a servant? Yeah, it feels like... Well, the thing is, right? It's like the murder of the brother all over again. Possibly justified in lashing out against the family that is less of a loved one. But to murder Fabio for it? What has Fabio done to him? It's his uncle that has been doing wrong. We go down.
This area is restricted.
Okay. 6, 7.
Please let me out.
The Metro Archives, maybe? Because everybody's here, right? So I don't see any reason. But we'd have to go back to the crime scene.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
And who do we talk to for the evidence ticket? Inspect all evidence of the case. Evidence room, here we go. Chief Inspector Placido.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
Evidence is a ticket and just a ticket.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
Get my coconut for my tea. Alright, what we got here then? It's all one item. A ring? What's the ring signify?
It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone.
This is
A
Manchios'
heavily perfumed
box.
handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner.
Does he have his keys with him?
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring.
Even the ritual room? And this is Vogel's.
An emergency kit for boredom.
And I guess this is the angry letter from Fabio, huh? The letter that was found in Vogel's evidence box. Is your mind unsound? You can't control your bitterness. Not around me, anyway. For me, it's too great a risk to ignore that kind of behavior. I can be, speak, and play with anyone I choose. I am not another Matista. You pay me, but you haven't bought me. Of course I'll keep all your generous donations, even though they hardly compensate for your last terrible outburst. I'm leaving you, although Matista will still be around. Fabio. Who is this for? This isn't Vogel's box, but I don't recall Vogel having much of a relationship with Fabio. Maybe he did. Everyone favors Fabio. Can't control your bitterness, not around me anyway. Too great a risk to ignore that kind of behavior. Lots of generous donations. Last terrible outburst. I think this is addressed to Manchios. Fabio and Manchios is breaking up. Ooh. Maybe it's not Santos then, who has been embittered by his uncle's treatment, and thus murdered the object of his uncle's infinite adoration, the young twink, who is set to receive everything that is owed to him. Maybe it is Manchios, who is a type of person who would mock his only remaining family, his nephew, make him major domo, pay him next to nothing, give him a salt lamp and wax mustache wax in his will. And then here is his prize, his favorite canary, who chooses to leave the relationship. And so he's outraged. He's already had one passed out burst. And then to hear this, that he'll be left with the scarred woman, and not his divine marble David. I could see it. He'd probably lash out and beat him in the head with a bottle. But then why the ritual? Was he so upset that he did end up performing the ritual act with Fabio's dead body, dead or dying body?
Not the time for
possible.
privacy. Werner's personal sketchbook.
Can we look in? Can we get all the secrets? No? And now we have what? Matista? Matista. No last name given.
Her key to the altar room. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings.
Common in folk magic. Power of love, blood, and mandrake.
That's not for bedtime reading.
It could be. Can we open it? Ex Libris cart?
This Ex Libris belongs to Manchios Library.
Oh, Kurt. The police found this occult book in Matista's bag during the arrest. According to the Ex Libris, the tome was taken from Mr. Manchio's collection. It contains illustrations and descriptions of a ritual similar to the crime scene. Prepare the naked body of a recently deceased object of interest. So it's supposed to be dead already then. See, the ritual notes in the altar room made it say the person's alive. You put the woman on the altar, paint the fertility symbol, do the deed, then stab her. But she's got to be dead first, according to this. Recently deceased object of interest. Draw symbols of Mars and Venus to enhance the power you possess. To use a force of male and female nature. Pierce his heart with a golden dagger, to be rid of the blood that does not love you. Draw a symbol representing your love. While waiting for the resurrection, recite the charm. Whoops, I've unplugged my headphones. Hopefully that doesn't disrupt anything. Matista is into the occult stuff. She has bought into this. By her own admission. See, I would have thought that she has followed the ways of her people prior to her enslavement, but given the symbol and everything else, I think she's taken seriously to these books. So it's entirely possible that if she's falling forward hook, line, and sinker, that she might believe in the resurrective powers of this ritual. He's got to be dead already. Wait. What if the ritual's a red herring? No, it can't be, because I was thinking. What if she found him dead on the ground, having been knocked out by the bottle, have been beaten by the bottle? Someone beans him in the smoking room and leaves him there. Manchios, maybe. She comes in, sees him on the ground, assumes him dead, drags him over, puts him on the altar. Recently deceased object of interest. The symbols on the wall. Then pierce his heart with the dagger to drain the blood. Then draws a symbol on him. And then should resurrect. Maybe she tried to resurrect him, having seen him on the floor. But given the amount of blood that gushed out of his chest wound, he was alive then. And her resurrection ritual is what killed him?
The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer.
We now have compelling evidence and possibilities for all three primary suspects. Let me see. We gotta talk to somebody about the book and the letter. Volgo's gonna say, oh, it's not mine, I saw it in the library. And then Manchios is gonna deny it. We could probably get a confession out of Batista. Or possibly get some more deets. Power of love. Batista's book describes a supposed love ritual of stabbing someone, drawing symbols of Mars and Venus in blood. Held because of letter. Angry letter from Fabio. Might not be Vogel's, it was just on his person. It was on his person. But the contents of the letter don't feel like it's addressed to Vogel. Maybe it was planted on Vogel to make him a primary suspect. What? The angry letter doesn't go to the contents of the letter? Feelings for Fabio. Angry letter. No? Have they got to illuminate it first? The letter may have been from Manchios. Cortosatos Vincetti, and by the contents of the letter, may have been addressed to him. And so Manchios, threat for the murder. No, but ritual murder is only for Batista, not for Manchios. We still need more. It's sad to say, but Matista is a possibility in accidental manslaughter, thinking she was helping someone who's already dead. Manchios is a possibility if he was enraged at Fabio breaking up with him and wanting to leave, despite all the gifts that he threw to Fabio. And Manchios never stops talking about pretty young men. And Fabio is definitely the prettiest young man on the island. Pinchetti may have gone after the object of his uncle's affections, who was going to take everything that he's disinherited from. But right now, I'm feeling like 80% Manchios, 15% Batista, 5% Pinchetti. Talk about the letter that you said would finger Vogel.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with
Working
you.
on it.
I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
And that's all I could talk to him
Continue our
about?
investigation while I look for the papers.
Alright, so... Room 1. Is where? 3, 4... Right, 5, 6, 7. Talk about the book, The Power of Love.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood, and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
But Matista, it's Western occultism you've fallen for. These books are just... they're fantasies. It's not the real occultism. It's rich people. It's YA for rich people. She used some white magic on Fabio. I didn't hear her say that, but that sounds like a confession. A curative white magic to resurrect him. Which means she plunged the dagger into his chest, hoping to resurrection, but killed who was merely unconscious. Oh, there's more I can provide. Okay. Letter from Fabio?
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios.
They were breaking up.
Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Or that's all the evidence.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately.
Love charms.
Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
Deceased object of interest. To be rid of the blood that does not love you. See, I want to ask what if he was already dead? And she merely came across the dead body. Oh no, my Fabio. Alas. And then took the opportunity to practice the charm on him. But there's too much blood. If the knife came from stabbing in the chest, then he was alive. Letter from Fabio. Maybe it addressed to Kurt Manchios. Agrees. May have been addressed to Manchios. Matista has an occult book in her possession which is scripted the ritual similar to the crime scene, and mentions the use of white magic to bring back Fabio, literally from death or figuratively to your heart. Trusted in the occult over Fabio. Believes in the occult and its power to keep Fabio close to her. Power of love? May have used a ritual on Fabio. In which case, Fabio... See, but that implies, right? If it's a ritual murder, and ritual murder is the only one, but that implies they struggled first. And I don't think they did. But if she was bruised by the guest unrelatedly, and came across his body, and died in the ritual, then we get angry red. The game refuses to acknowledge the possibility, so it gives me cheaty information that no, it wasn't accidentally stabbing what she thought was a corpse. It has to be a struggle that led to his murder on the altar. Killed him deliberately to bring him and his love back to life to her. Which I don't want to accept. I don't want to accept that no matter how distant he was from her at this point, that she fought and killed her longest friend. I refuse. Evidence of the book. Could you illuminate the book?
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism.
It's just Western
and
occultism.
voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
He had permitted Matista to take it, so she took it of her own volition behind his back. Passing by the theater that was showing Hamlet might have been a bit of foreshadowing. Matista, want to talk
I've
about
no
her?
idea about that.
No idea, Matista? Fabio's letter. Maybe I want Vogel's confirmation first before bringing this up, because I'm pretty sure he'll deny it. You gave expensive gifts to Fabio?
That's not something I know much about.
You don't know anything about yourself giving gifts to Fabio? The victim? Do you want to talk about Fabio?
That's not something I know much about.
You don't know much about Fabio? We'll be back.
I appreciate your cooperation, Mr. Manchios. Wait just a moment, I have something to check.
Hey, Vogel. Vogel is down the hall. You tell us about the letter.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it.
You and your drug out of
Though I did
mind.
spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
During which you could have slipped into
Unfortunately,
your purse.
even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
Not lying for
You
you.
being on a bender?
touche.
So that confirms that. Volvo thinks it's possible it was addressed to Manchios, but doesn't know how it got there. Okay, now tell us about the letter. Everyone says it's yours. Vogel hasn't seen it.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star?
He didn't
Are
want to be
you
your star
insane
anymore.
that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do
Still
you have
don't
any
deny
idea
it?
as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
He's being evasive. That makes him seem more guilty. He denies any connection with the letter. That is very sus. May have been a recipient of an angry letter that fits him to a T. Either Vogel or Manchios is lying. I mean, who else has been trying to buy Fabio's love? Burning bridge with Manchios? Fabio broke hurt Manchios' heart, shattered his feelings. Still not enough to make any conclusion marks. Vogel or Manchios is lying. Vogel took the letter under the influence? Is that to suggest that he took the letter while high, read the letter, thought it was for him? No. Manchios planted the letter into Werner Vogel's pocket to make him look like a suspect. And thus, Manchios is a murderer. For years, Fabio played with Kurt Manchios' heart and abused his interest in the young performer. When Manchios received yet another rejection, he murdered Fabio and staged a love ritual to avoid suspicion. The question is, why set it up as a ritual, right? Maybe it's to implicate Matista, but he didn't seem to have given permission for Matista to keep the book, let alone to access it, who knows? So that would probably hinge on her knowing the details of it. Then again, there was a note to practice a ritual, right? To rehearse it? If the public-facing ritual is just get on the altar, have some sex, stab in chest with a fake knife, then it wouldn't need that much rehearsing, that's just foreplay. Was it a crime of passion in which Kurt Manchios was heartbroken and panicked, and did not mean to kill Fabio? Improvised ritual was a desperate attempt to cover up the crime? A prison sentence should be enough, whereas harsher punishment is the death of love. The hardest punishment for him is aging, with everything he's doing to cover it up. Or is he a sexual predator? He killed Fabio in cold blood, staged a crime as a ritual to blame Matista. He planted the letter in Vogel's pocket to avoid suspicion. Manchios has no consideration for the life of others and deserves to be hanged. We get to decide that? Wait a minute. I can play God here, and that might actually be the best outcome. Because things do implicate Manchios pretty strongly, but if he gets hanged, which, let's face it, just give him a few years prison, he suffered enough, is really weak. But if we do play God and decide that he must be hanged, then with Fabio dead and his only living heir being Pinchetti, well then Pinchetti gets to get the life and the inheritance that he's been entitled to all his life, right? That he's been suffering and working under for so long to achieve. Pinchetti as a murderer? Worked for his uncle for years, the deep hope of obtaining his heritage? Mancios' hostility and humiliation pushed Pinchetti to kill Fabio and frame his uncle. Mancios' imprisonment would make Pinchetti the only lawful heir. Correct the injustice, the only way for Santos Pinchetti to right his wrongs was to be rid of his monstrous uncle. Pinchetti should be punished for the crime of murder, but has suffered enough and deserves a fresh start after a brief prison sentence. Or it was cold revenge. Santos Pinchetti snapped. After years of disrespect, Pinchetti devised a plan to be rid of his uncle. However, misery and despair cannot justify murder. Pinchetti is dangerous, and a noose around his neck is all he deserves. The most compelling evidence for Pinchetti, I think, is the blood on his shoe. If he merely opened the door and saw the crime scene and fled to inform the police, he shouldn't have the blood there on his shoe, because the only place the blood was is a smoking room where the initial beating happened and the body was dragged through, and the area directly around the altar where the heart was stabbed and all the blood gushed out. So he would have had to been right up on it. Or was it tragically? Was it tragically Matista, who fell hook, line, and sinker into the fabrications of Western esotericism after a hard life and any desperate attempt for better situations? Matista was afraid of Fabio's growing popularity and ambitions, wanted to keep him with her for as long as possible. In a last-ditch effort, Matista conducted a love ritual during which she killed Fabio. Red Scarlet Poppy, thank you for the follow. I'm not sure if my alerts are working. OBS is a new beast for me, and Stream Elements is a new beast. So, it's new things I have to set up and get accustomed to. Well, thank you very much. Is she a crushed soul? Matista is a product of a tormented life. She knows no difference between good and evil. She wanted her love Fabio to stay with her always and deserves help. She needs to be treated and have a chance to get over her past. In an asylum in the late 19th century, where she's going to be drugged up and electroshocked into a vegetative state and lobotomized. And maybe she'll get out early if she joins some weird late 19th century Christian cult like JWs or Seventh-day Adventists. Or is she nothing more than a cult murderer, using occultism as a way to avenge her miserable life? She stabbed Fabio to keep him close to her. She should be held accountable for her deeds. Any judge would give her a death sentence without hesitation. See, Matista is especially cruel though, because both of these are awful. The death sentence, or electroshock, lobotomies, and Seventh-day Adventists. I really don't want to believe it. The ritual scene does most resemble the ritual as per the book, and less of the party version. But other people may have had access to that book. I don't want to believe that Matista and Fabio had a physical altercation before the ritual. That doesn't seem to fit. Which means ritual murder is completely out. There's no possibility that Vogel himself was a murderer, huh? It's either he took it by accident, and thus Pinchetti did it, or Manchios planted the letter, and thus Manchios did it. They both have the means to do it. Maybe Pinchetti opened the room, and he's familiar enough with the debauchery going on that, oh, all this red stuff around here, it's just pig's blood or something. So he goes up, Fabio, sir, the master wants you, shakes him on the shoulder. The knife doesn't dislodge. He feels how cold the skin is, and that's the blood gets an issue. Maybe. It's possible. Manchios seems very, very guilty. There's certainly bad blood with Fabio trying to break up with him, especially after how much money and gifts Manchios put into him. Santos has lots and lots of motive. I can't talk to anybody else, can I? Just accuse time?
I appreciate.
Time to make an accusation. All the evidence that can be had has been had.
Let's.
Alright. 5, 6, and 7. Vogel, I can't accuse you, can I?
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Thank you for your cooperation.
You know, I could try to accuse everybody. Put in the first 2 steps, the means, the motive, whatever, and simply avoid the 3rd step and be like, oh, never mind, I'll come back later. And see if their reaction to anything gives up, oh, that's impossible, or how could you possibly know? Because you might slip up at the first 2 steps. Just toy with everybody's hearts. A review of the evidence at hand. Extremely rich, eccentric, controlling, his expensive gifts to Fabio. And it's sort of those parties, right? Where everyone is like really wasted. So it's possible that in his heightened state that he might lose control of his impulses. I'm not another Matista. Pay me, but you haven't bought me. What does that mean? Not another Matista. Matista will still be around. Is that why there's a rip between the two? Cause sure, they're both escorts, but Matista being more willing to play to his favors or whatever. Can't control your bitterness, not around me. Too great a risk to ignore that kind of behavior. Your last terrible outburst, maybe he is more violent and more jealous and doesn't want to see his trophy fly to somebody else. I'm talking myself into voting for Manchios. Wanted to break off all connection with Mr. Manchios. Was unable to for financial reasons. Manchios denies everything. Hadn't permitted Matista to take it. Used white magic on Fabio, but didn't necessarily have to be this ritual. Well, my only suspects are tragic, and tragic if he gets to live. So, Amantios? Maybe it was the Major Domo, Santos, but if it was, then I'd propose going easy on him anyway. Fabio's dead. If his uncle goes free, his uncle is old, despite the makeup and hair dye, and nobody else for the both to go to but Santos. If it's Matista, then it's deeply tragic and she's only got bad outcomes. So in the end, it's all down to the wealth and privilege of Manchios going down to Santos one way or another. And I feel compelled to accuse Manchios so.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the
Already.
only man who cared for her.
Already
So,
blaming others.
Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problem.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
You're just blaming
Mr.
everyone.
Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
Manchios clearly has not played enough Among Us to know not to just blame everyone at the first opportunity. Your fingernails. First, the love was not mutual. Begin with the stabbing to the heart.
You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he
How
not?
dare he?
He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
And yet the past outbursts. You staged the ritual.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
Early 60s.
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
Maybe that's true. Maybe he simply did the murder and did kill him, and then Matista, in her weepy state, tried to bring him back to life, in which case it's totally irrelevant. But I do think he killed him. Your fingernails, man.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned.
A crime of passion? Premeditated murder. See, I don't think it was premeditated. I think it was a crime of passion. You know, he tried to hold on to his favorite toy. His favorite toy said, "No, I wish to leave," and then you got really high, drunk, mad, and beamed him to death and stabbed him. But is this the question of whether we go merciful or let him hang? Because I don't think he planned this. I think this just happened. He was under the influence. He was brokenhearted. His pride was murdered. And so you grab the bottle, smash the guy in, and then oh shit. And then gotta cover it up. That's what I think.
Fabio played with your feelings. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way that you would have liked. You wanted to be loved, but Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You were passionate, and so you struck him. Once you understood your mistake, it was too late. You were afraid, so you staged the ritual. With such a story, you might be sentenced to a few
Since
years.
a mercy or
It might
cruel
clean your
option.
conscience, and soon the case will be forgotten.
No. No.
This is my decision. I'll talk to Constable Oswald to see what I can do.
Well, either way, Santos is a primary heir again, so it's a good end for Santos at least. Right?
I wish everything were different.
That is the sound of a man who has made mistakes he feels now, so I think he did do the killing.
I'd weep if I had any tears left at all.
7.
I'll remember this horror forever.
And Vogel, you alright?
Are you done yet? Can I leave?
Have some empathy, man.
What a bunch of losers.
John's got the right of it. Okay, then the archive room. Archive room.
There's no fool like an old fool. Kurt Manchios did it. A young boy played with the heart of an old man. The latter couldn't handle it. The evidence I obtained clearly shows that the quarrel was not intended to end badly. It was an accident.
Showing pity towards your own kind, Holmes. Whatever.
All I'm saying is that prison won't take much away from an old and crushed man.
Fine. A big name like that will still give me a promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them.
But
Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case.
Mom's
Everything
files are
I found
missing.
is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
I'm not a fan, though, of how so much of describing Fabio was Fabio toyed with his heart, Fabio deceived him. What it is painted as Fabio wanting to leave, what's a not very good relationship for him. But I guess that's how Holmes paints the, be merciful to the old man argument, huh? Mom's files? Report number 0743. Officers arrived to find the deceased identified as Mrs. Violet Holmes, lying in the garden of Stonewood Manor. Visual inspection showed the victim to be thoroughly soaked. Thoroughly soaked with a deep vertical incision 2 inches in length down her throat. Vertical incision 2 inches in length down her throat. And so what? Bathtub? And a tracheal opening? Her face was swollen and covered in red blotches. Likely cause of death, hypoxia. Awaiting confirmation from medical examiner. Main suspect, Otto Richter, was arrested at the scene. Body was sent for autopsy. The prompt to skip cutscene, but no prompt to pause cutscene. The bathroom,
Garden.
then, right? No, the garden.
There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
John, does that mean that the game is almost over? If we're that close to discovering the full truth?
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
Fully. An acceptable outcome.
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I am failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
Agree. It's everybody else who's a philosophical zombie. Spare the lecture. I'm not entirely free. Maybe. Maybe his ideals are chains as much as they are keys.
I take your point. There are some limits on us all, some compromises we must make. Despite my best efforts, we cannot remain entirely objective.
I didn't want to sadden you, Sherlock, only to make you think beyond your boundaries. You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
And the clock ticks closer to the midnight of Vogel revealing himself to be this game's version of Moriarty. Is it all cases? Did I clear out the one cemetery one?
Any progress with the case, Mr. Holmes?
Completely stalled the whole week through. So this is signing then that Mom's case becomes more and more complex. Not just that the tuberculosis was really mental illness, but a possible more violent end. Splintered memory. Blooming trees, shimmers of the pond. There's a pond. Maybe it wasn't a bathtub then. Case closed. Death by hypoxia. Mother's throat was slit. Deep vertical slash. Hence, testification? No? Throat slit to allow the air in? She drowned. Throat wound could either be the final humiliation by her killer, or a desperate attempt to save her. For a vertical slit, that's what I'm thinking. Normally when you kill someone, it's a cross, isn't it? Or she did not drown. The slit on my mother's throat was an attempted tracheotomy. Makes no sense to do this if she was drowning. That's what I think. That the slit throat was a procedure for something. Where to? To home? To unlock some new memory? At the Holmes home? Oh wait, before I go home. New wares at luxury furniture. Antiques and that stuff. Oriental furniture doesn't. Garden and art doesn't. What do we have left that I haven't bought in? There's the vanity. And the awful. How many bucks do I have? 152 bucks in that case, okay. We'll buy both then.
Our clothes will be
One man, take a look. Maybe something will catch your eye.
The preserved offcuts for a whole 40 bucks.
I hope you liked what you bought.
Cabinet Curiosity Redux. Well, now up the road to the right. Ooh, gotta stop at the paper too. And read the outcome of the case. North? Where's my north? Tape here. Tape here. I went the wrong way. Well done, me.
Extra, extra! Good actor killed by bad actor. A young Adonis found dead at a depraved party. Mr. Manchios staged a ritual to conceal the accident.
Well, now you've told me, don't gotta buy your paper.
Interested in some Cordona news? Check the front page.
Place some items and once learned cabinet curiosities. Even much has been lost. With everything in its right place now, sure will prompt some fond memories. And the article? Police stormed the Manchios mansion yesterday, uncovering a depraved soiree and the body of one of Cordona's most beloved beauties, Fabio. In a sickening twist, the young Adonis was found at a basement altar, surrounded by occult inscriptions drawn in his blood. Several attendees of the gala were arrested, and upon further investigation, police determined that the strange circumstances of the death, were the killer's attempt to hide the truth. A source with knowledge of the situation tells us it was manslaughter, and that the owner of the house, Mr. Kurt Manchios, had unintentionally killed the drugged actor in an act of self-defense. Were it not for his attempt to hide the crime, he would have walked free. Instead, Mr. Manchios now faces 2 years only in jail? Ugh, the rich get off so easily.
You won't regret it.
Exquisite. My goods will brighten up your house.
Vanity, and that's all for that.
Enjoy your purchase.
Mother's room redux. Although, opening the garden does probably mean more furniture beyond that then. Mother's room has been restored to what it was 10 years ago. Cool. Alright, let's go home. Home, Holmes. The first cabinet.
Now it looks exactly like it was a decade ago. I can almost feel the memories hitting me.
Oh, there's my horrific cat thing.
What a monstrosity! Where could such a creature even survive?
Here, with the other fakes. This natural habitat. Oh, another mermaid. To go with the skeletonized one. Wait, why is this on that one? Cabinet of Curiosities.
When you're finished here, can we build a wigwam from the blankets? Like in the good old days?
Wrong order.
Oh,
of
I
sorted.
remember now. I never liked the way the books were sorted on these shelves.
That you didn't. Your brother often struggled to find his reading materials after our visits.
During our time in Stonewood Manor, Sherry and I would regularly visit the Cabinet of Curiosities. Sherlock was sometimes so bored that he'd rearrange all the books in his own particular order. He said it was easier to find the required books this way, but Mycroft never agreed. The last time that Mycroft was unable to find his desired reading material, he excoriated us for an hour and insisted we return the shelves to how they were. Tome travel. Say what I will for the choices they make in the combat system, they do put some satisfying puns. Now where's Mom's room? Mom?
Ah, the room looks nice now. It's comforting to see the way it was meant to be.
Mother's room?
It reminds me of my mother.
My mother
always preferred to spend her rare moments of lucidity with me.
Aw,
That's
sticking
true.
stuff up my
She
nose.
even stopped Mycroft from joining you. Remember?
I do. He didn't show it, but he was upset. I think Mother paid more attention to me because I was younger.
Typical favoritism. In her rare moments of lucidity, Sherlock's mother always wanted to spend time with him. One day, she thought preparing for the play, and she helped us apply stage makeup in front of the mirror. Oh, that's so sweet. So Mom was responsible for the success of our Hamlet on the back steps of the stage, of the theater. Mycroft wanted to join us, but she refused. He didn't show it, but I know he was upset. Violet always paid more attention to Sherry because he was younger. Let's see, more drawings. Oh, those ones from before. On the ground now, that we have like an actual vanity. Well, the bed's still horrific, but it looks nicer at least.
Bars covering the windows from the inside.
Alright, let's go to the John's diary for memories, get those exclamation marks out. To the back door. How could he forget that a house this lavish has a back to it? Oh, John being protective. Should I be worried about this memory? It's Mom's gruesome death after all.
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know
John,
what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
We're adults
Pain.
now, gotta confront it.
And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
Wait, really? Wait. Is this actually endgame? Is it? This is the only room left in the house, isn't it? We got our bedroom, Mom's bedroom, the Cabinet of Curiosities. And then this final door, huh? Huh. There's so much more we can do, he says. But we're kind of stalled up in the ghost case because, I don't know, the interpretation of where to put people is weird. And nobody else can do the jobs for us. Which means the only things left to do for us, really. What's left to do for us? To continue to go around in circles, to place people to the cemetery and have John hate me more. Bandit layers. and the photographic treasure hunt. Those are the only things left. Maybe there might be things to eavesdrop on if I wander around. And other smaller cases to pick up if I wander and come across one. But there doesn't appear to be anything else. I'm sorry, John, we have to finish this.
John, my animal, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just... please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Aw,
Quite.
John.
Come on. We'll go together.
And then roll credits. Garden looks nice. Who kept it up? Oh, never mind. Looks worse.
Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good.
Our close options haven't defaulted. You okay, John? You kind of got your head on your chest there. Holding up?
That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London, correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it,
Aww.
didn't survive.
I don't know. These fallen leaves look fresh. Maybe it is simply in the autumn of its phase. And given some soil nutrients, some water next spring. Can't look at the toys in the sandbox. I bet that bear is covered in spider eggs. You lift it up, and all the slugs are stuck to the back. You left your toy rocking horse outside, Holmes? Can't run. They have me on the cinematic crawl thing, the cinematic slow walk.
Ah yes, the statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. Pity she never had the opportunity to finish.
Is this actually the end? It feels somber. Pond maybe last. If she was soaked. Nothing in the gazebo, no go board. Sean sees a thing. Avoid John for now. Oh, I thought this trash can was gonna check it. Pick up all the ticks. Nothing for the sword. No memory attached to this. No comments. Oh, hold on. That's Mom, isn't it? Avoid the ghost Mom for now. Talk to John.
Is that the raft we made together, John?
Looks more like a pile of rotten planks now.
Wait a minute. Is this why? The loading tips mention that Sherlock is afraid of water and passes out if he gets too deep because of Mom memory. And here it was saying a couple of days back that he's afraid of water, he'll pass out if he touches it. Was it silly game justification? But if there's a natural cause for it. Tea set. They dropped the tea, didn't they?
That's from Mother's favorite tea set. What is it doing in here?
I did make some early comparisons to the council early on, so I guess this is our council-esque trippy end sequence. Ending Journey Through the Mind. The argument. Oh, you can see the border of the membrane.
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
But then why do we take the bromide? Did we accidentally OD Mom? And that's why her face is all swollen, and why she required the emergency tracheotomy. Was it us? Is that the hard truth? Keep away from kids. We're
This
kid.
must help calm her down.
No, Holmes, don't. So it wasn't Otto. Well, I mean, Otto
What are
Richter
you
was terrible,
thinking about?
but
Is everything all right?
it was our fault then.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Well, time to assemble the evidence. Tea and sedatives. Took a dose of sedatives with her tea the day she died. Did I give her more then? Did she already have her sedatives but she was acting up, and then us at our childhood innocence thought, well, this must make mommy happy? Oh no, a choice. Risk of side effects. Dr. Richter experimented on my mother with unconventional drugs and treatments. Every dose has a risk of side effects. Increased tolerance. My mother used sedatives frequently, so her body must have built up a tolerance. It wouldn't be a danger to her. Oh, that's a lie he tells himself. And so she did drown. My mother was drowned. Someone drowned my mother. On accident or on purpose. Side effects. And didn't drown. Emergency tracheotomy. Allergic reaction. Unexpected allergic reaction for medication. And she suffocated? Is it unexpected allergic reaction if we're the one who overdosed her? Unconventional drugs and treatments. Every dose had a risk of side effects. What about additional dose option? Where's the... I gave her an additional dose option. This is definitely the lying to myself to pretend I had no involvement. That's the lying to myself to blame Richter entirely. Allergic reaction to medication, she suffocated. Thus, tracheotomy. See, but this also has desperate attempt to save her, which means it could have also been a tracheotomy. She drowned, and the throat wound could be either thought humiliation or a desperate attempt to save her. What'd she drown in? The pond? That goes nowhere. I don't think this is a case of built-up tolerance. Oh, that's done. Empty house is totally done then. We got all the furniture. So I guess this is endgame. John, bad news. I was Mom's killer.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
All of the memories. Now, gazebo?
Da 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 da. Da da da.
Don't go, Mother, wait.
Aww. Ta-ta, Mama. Book. Don't tell me you pulled the entire words, text, and all out of your mind palace.
Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
Findings on the island. What is that, Java?
I remember this artifact from Mother's collection.
I do recall one that looked like that. We have to find it. To every room then. Her bedroom, then the cabinet of curiosities. Yeah, that's it. Confined by the membrane.
Here it is. We'll just
The
borrow
argument
it.
that Mycroft had. And then
Did you
bam
hear
bam,
that?
right?
Someone's coming. Let's take a peek.
Behind the mermaid.
You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No.
Forms of research.
I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me?
Is it
You're
just
scaring me.
Sherry, come here, darling.
Mom? Mom! Is it just me, or is John's voice get a bit distorted in places?
I'm here. Come closer.
Sherry, say something.
It is.
Can you hear me?
I'm waiting.
You're scaring me.
Mom's calling for us, John. Let's go. Remember Mind Palace clues? Mom,
Come here, darling.
can I play for a bit longer, Mom?
Sherlock, I'm here. Come closer.
Coming, Mother! This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
More uncomfortable memories. Front hall? No, garden. Oh, we get to push Mom around.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum.
I can only push forward.
I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
Mom, it's a
You can walk
statue.
each day from now on, if you want.
Aw,
That
she'll
would be
like the
wonderful.
sleeves. Here, Mom. Flowers to your right.
Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed.
And so the sky had them murdered.
Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Did I slip?
Mycroft knew you would like it.
Did I slip and push her in? Am I gonna be so distraught with guilt that I unlock the in-water ending?
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
Oh, the
That's a
water's
nice
awfully
idea.
close. There's a slope. What's that music box? Or whatever box.
Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Okay, Mom has survived the pond.
Yes, Sherry.
She doesn't drown this day. Okay.
Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Oh, Mom's
Mom! He's... I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No,
Don't you dare say such things! You are a liar like all the others!
Oh, that's why Mycroft was worried.
Don't call me that! You aren't fooling me!
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie!
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please!
We're not Sperry's
stop.
mom.
It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry! Give me my stuff back or I'll kill you!
Did it become self-defense then? Well, Sherry isn't fighting back very well. Mycroft, maybe? Maybe the doctor saved me, then performed emergency tracheotomy. Mycroft comes in, does another situation, ruins the old man's career. The old man, whose brother is secretly Vogel, and Vogel now wants revenge of the Vogel final boss. Mycroft caught Richter. Oh, this is all new then. Hysteria in the garden. Attacked me in the garden in a sobered manner on the day she died. Temperamental disease? Yeah? Mother tried to kill me. Tried to drown me in the pond. John and I are inseparable. Mother died from allergic reaction after we gave her sedatives with the morning tea. This is admitting our involvement. Otto Richter tried to save Violet, yet Mycroft knew, deliberately blamed him for her death, despite our responsibility. Imaginary John was a killer? I killed my mother without knowing it. The idea to give her sedatives came from John, which means I cannot trust my own mind. To heal myself, I must get rid of John. Mycroft did the truth to protect me. Or I killed my mother. I'm responsible for my mother's death. It was my idea to give her medication, which caused the allergic reaction that killed her. It is my guilt. What else do we have? He caught Richter, then testified against him. After Mycroft caught Otto Richter, saving my mom, blamed him for our mother's death? I don't know. Increased tolerance would require that she did drown. Mycroft lied, but Mom did try to kill me still. Otto Richter was responsible? Drowned by Otto Richter? Mycroft accused him of murder, but unclear if Otto killed her deliberately. I don't think so. Deliberate murder? Killed my mother to end her suffering and save my life. So euthanasia. Mycroft hid the truth to protect me, and was correct in accusing Otto of impropriety. Or was an accident. Killed my mother while trying to save me. The drowning was an accident, and he desperately attempted a tracheotomy to save her. And thus Mycroft hid the truth to protect me and wrongly accused Otto. No. Everything we've seen. It wasn't her increased tolerance. We gave the extra dose. The psychiatrist was extra suspicious, using Mom half as a guinea pig. And not being very judicious in her experimental treatments. But Otto Richter was a patsy, a scapegoat. It was I who killed Mom. Either way, though, either of these options sound like getting rid of John. Either the voice in my head is what sparked the idea to give her the medication, and thus we must rid ourselves of John. Or we admit that regardless, this was our doing, we take responsibility. Cannot trust my own mind, heal myself, must get rid of John. I hope these both go to the same place, because this acknowledges that John is a part of his mind, and he must heal. But ultimately it was me. And either way, Mycroft wanted to protect me, and was happy enough to use Otto Richter, who built a case against himself with the experimental treatments and injudicious drug dealings, or drug dosing. He built a case against him. Are you sure about your choice? You will not be able to change it after confirmation. Yeah, I'm sure.
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry.
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't
He's
bear
your
the
subconscious,
truth,
you
Sherlock,
knew.
So I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
I killed my own mother, John.
You
It
were
is
young and
unforgivable.
stupid. It was an accident. She tried to drown you.
It was an accident, Sherlock. She was mad, abusive. You were a child, simply trying to help.
Exactly.
How could I? How could she?
She wasn't in her right
You
mind.
were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock,
What?
are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Well, my fabrication.
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
John's speaking of existence. John, no!
There is only one thing to be done.
What are you talking about?
To expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to fail to hold oneself likewise accountable, it would be hypocrisy. My mother died by my hand. I must turn myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions?
Yeah, it's an accident.
You were
man.
a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges. If you're lucky, they'll simply exile you. If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Charge him for an accidental death of his mother when he was a child?
Are you going to berate me too? Try and talk me out of it? As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking...
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself? How do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try, that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why? Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder.
A murder is premeditated
Tell me, John,
with
why?
intent. An
Because
accident's
you're
an
breaking
accident.
my heart.
He's still so young and naive.
I know. You've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted.
Oh, there's a little tear in his face.
You'll always be a part of.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
Wait, does that mean that Watson John all this time was a rebound? Achievement, closing the chapter, and then post game. It can't be the end, right? What about the foreshadowing, the hinting that Vogel is Klaus? Graphical glitch at the beginning returns again.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned
Vengeance for your own
everything
brother?
I did, everything I believed to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Vernon? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate.
Oh, that's
Otto
it. No
was
final
merely
case
the
for him.
gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project.
What? What is this? Sherlock punched his
You
throat.
really are beautiful.
Does this change depending on the ending you get? Is it like neurotic Holmes?
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure, and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest.
Should have gone Oxford
I
then.
prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island, to Mother, to John. What was her life
Still
worth?
unresolved guilt.
How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything?
See, I thought blaming himself would be like coming to terms with his responsibilities as a child and like move on from it. Don't be poor Data.
I found it! I found it! I found it!
And what is that?
It's Rebound. Aww.
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken, and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours, and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for rout?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one...
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John?
No, John with an H. And thus, replacement romance is born. Credits? Cool. That was sweet. I'm gonna grab myself. Quick bathroom break while you guys enjoy the nice music and the names of some very hard workers in a very nice game. So 1 second. Oh no, a sheet over the family portrait. All this to reclaim the past and back to destitution. I'm actually kind of surprised how short this was. But I guess it's just like a chapter 1 to Holmes, a little light story about, I guess, how it came to be. The chapter 1 doesn't denote a chapter 2 and beyond. It's pretty much a one-off thing they've said, I think. Just as a prequel. And that's that. Which I guess if that's that, means that that's it for Cardona, which is a shame. Because if there's one thing I really loved about this game, it's the setting and the people. There's so much like potential here, right? With this rich, vibrant history on this island that has exchanged occupations throughout history. And they certainly built a lot into it. And if that's it, then that's it, huh? But they do have, what, one season pass out? A DLC or so far? So there could be room for maybe, say, I don't know, Mr. Cases to flesh things out. Would be a shame to have this like super rich setting with a rich history and a rich culture, and then just one game and that's it. Spin-off Frogwares? Maybe spin-off in Cardona? Maybe not Shrooms, but who knows? But yeah, guess that's it then. And I guess I see why the combat is so as it is. And if you like this, you can play more. The Complete Adventures, Dracula, The Devil's Daughter, Mad Runner? What about other endings? Save points are at where? 126? So a good 23 minutes ago is the last checkpoint. Where does that put me? Because I'm curious, right? About the choice to blame John or yourself. My interpretation was that blaming John is more running away from the truth, and blaming yourself is more accepting your role in the accident and moving on from there. But of course, Sholmes sees things with his own lens, sees the world his own way. And that has to be, take all the responsibility, even though you're a child, turn yourself in. My thinking was that blaming John is avoiding the truth. But it did mention that to heal his mind, he must be rid of John. So, what if then? What if we acknowledge that John is not healthy for us, and that we must be rid of John? See, the whole premise of blaming your imaginary friend doesn't sit right with me. But maybe Sherlock just needs to acknowledge that the little voice in his head isn't healthy for him to have? What if you go this route?
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me?
Because there's no way it's Otto's fault, apart from
wake up.
drugging Mom up in the first place. With the experimentals.
Sherry, you knew, and more than that, you hid it from me. You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror,
You. It was your idea. The sedative, that was
and
you.
then it deviates. Which
She
means
was
technically
hurting
it
us.
was you, Holmes.
Sherry. I couldn't bear to see you suffer.
So you killed my mother. My worst impulses, my darkest thoughts, they're you.
Which means they're you.
You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend.
Is he really the darkest impulses?
Sherlock.
If he's the one who penalizes you for murdering people.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
And receive apple.
Whoa, whoa,
Oh.
whoa, Sherry. What are you doing?
There is only one way through.
Through what? What do you mean?
This is foreshadowed, John.
My
First time that
entire
anyone
life,
pointed at you.
my work, my mind, has been compromised by a malignant force, by a perversion of rationality. By you, John.
Oh, now John
You're a
gets to
tumor.
cry.
You're a poison.
Sherlock.
And like a tumor, you must be excised for the health of the patient.
No. No, this is the lie, Sherry. I protected you. I am your friend, your brother. You know me. You know me. I was always there for you. When your mother lashed out, I took the hit. When you were alone, I held you. She was sick. She needed to calm down. I helped her.
You killed her.
No. Yes. No. But it was not meant. Please. Please. I'm scared.
And then that one teardrop on his shoulder will remain after John is dead to prove he was real all along.
Are you all right?
I think, on the balance of things, no.
That is good news. To be unaffected by today's events would place you in a different pathology entirely. Your time on Cordona is over, Sherlock. Tomorrow we shall board a vessel back to London, and all this, it stays here.
He's gone, Mycroft. I needed to take control. He would help me, but it was a lie because
Oh,
but he's
poor
gone.
Sparling Sherlock.
I knew he was wrong. Do you see? I am free. I just had to act.
Does this mean that if John was a negative force,
Yes.
then
In that respect,
in that case, the
you
good decision
are
is to
your
murder
mother's
people?
son.
Framing of the sword for the fallen brother. And so it changes. Doesn't go to police, just leaves straight to Cambridge. Alright, the Werner thing. Which I don't see that changing either, would it? For this one? Maybe might if you blame Otto for Mom's death?
Why are you here?
Ha! There was no love
That's good, how
lost
many
between.
lines?
Otto was merely the.
Why?
To help. To
More lies.
to see what. You're my masterpiece.
So far, all the same.
It is a. Oh, I. When what? Now, please excuse me, but
Is
the
the
gallery
painting going to be
calls.
different?
I'm already conceived.
Nope, so the same. Maybe based on how many things you do?
You really are
Or
beautiful.
on points, or it could just be it. Could be a joke, I haven't read enough to know.
I am all right. I returned to London and enrolled at Cambridge University. Their professors leave something to be desired, or perhaps I simply lack the interest in all but a few lectures. I prefer to spend my time at the local hospital pursuing things of practical use.
Hospital this
Medical
time?
research, chemical tests and the like. Empirical truths.
So is someone healthier
I
in
try
executive
not to
pursuits
think
now?
about you. I try not to think about anyone unless it is in the course of an investigation. I've started to help people with their menial mysteries. It keeps the mind occupied. I cannot risk otherwise. I'm not like her. I'm not like you. I am all right.
This does seem better so far, but there is that undertone of denial throughout it. Telling himself it's alright. And this one gets it the same, right? Prize for John. Poor Data.
I found it! I found it!
And
Oh, yeah, same then. Aww. Okay, that does change. Where's the skip button?
How in what case? That's what?
well, I
Do you?
Yeah.
it's Dr. John Watt.
John.
John! Oh, I can't see the credits. I mean, credit where credit's due, but we saw it already. Oh, you can't skip it. Sorry, hard workers, we gave you credit already. So I guess that's that then. What remains then is looking at the auto-blaming endings. But those have to be lesser, since the evidence points to Otto being a quack at time that experimented on Mom, but ultimately her death being by our hands. Oh wait, I skipped too far. Skip through the menu and back to continue. And you can't menu from here. Alright, fine. We could have one auto ending as a treat. She did drown, as she built up a tolerance. Deliberate murder or an accident? Killed my mother while trying to save me. Drowning was an accident. And he desperately attempted a tracheotomy to save her. Mycroft hid the truth and wrongfully accused Otto. False. We've already seen the truth endings. Alright, let's see an auto ending. Is this my final choice? No, this is curiosity.
Sherlock.
Get off me. Sherry, you knew, and more than that, you couldn't bear the truth.
Same.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up.
Not the truth, though.
Whisked me away from this place, buried me in schoolwork, and left the past to rot.
And you needed a way to cope. So I helped.
You were a lie, John. A fiction.
Not exactly a Sherlock Holmes
crutch.
as Sherlock, is he?
No.
Sherlock. Who?
Why?
And then he
Sherlock?
kills Mycroft, and the
What are you
timeline is
doing?
disrupted completely.
You
You kept me in the dark and kept
Split
your
timeline,
actions quiet.
allowing future
You
games on
enabled
Cordona.
Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. And worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of dwelling in the past.
It was lies upon lies. Otto Richter was trying to save her, but you decided he deserved to take the fall. Is that justice?
I mean, there are
The
different
big
elements of
picture,
truth in these so
Sherlock.
far.
The big picture. Perhaps Richter was not responsible for her fit of rage, but his treatment led inexorably to that moment. You were so fragile. I could not. I just couldn't. I chose us over him.
You know, for once I believe you. Perhaps now that the truth is out, I can actually do what you had hoped. Leave it all in the past.
Would be this the actual good and ending?
You have your whole life ahead of you, Sherlock. It is time you got on with it.
To not blame yourself for your actions, or your subconscious manifestation for your actions, but to find somebody else to blame.
I was worried there for a minute, Sherry. Really worried.
And so we keep the phantom of our consumed fetal twin. The little lump of hair and teeth in the shoulder gets to continue to manifest.
What's so funny?
I am talking to myself, John. I think I was hurt regardless.
But we made a good team, eh? Explored every inch of this place together. Helped a lot of people. Terrorized a few too, I suppose. I think I may go so far as to say, Sherry, that I have not lived wholly in vain.
I don't know, that sounds nice so far. They still break up. He still loses
You've
his
opened every
manifestation.
door, Sherry. Faced the past you locked away. You don't need me anymore.
It even sounds celebratory, congratulatory.
I will miss you all the same. I don't want you to go.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye, John.
Maybe open every door refers to going back and reloading over and over again to see all the endings. And the same stuff with Volgo. I mean, I get it, he's really Klaus, or used to be Klaus, but I don't know, I was hoping for more build-up, or more after all that build-up, than just, hey, by the way, you're Klaus, yeah, we know. Here's a Death Note painting. I guess then, that the previous case was his final case. I found that one.
Why are you...
Ha! Oh, to help.
This stays the same.
It is a... When one... Now...
Yeah, same painting. What if it is, let's say like Wario Land for the Game Boy?
You really...
And the painting you get changes based on
My brother
progress,
returned to London
completion.
soon after our disagreement. He enrolled at Cambridge University, but attends only the rare classes that hold his interest. I hear he took employment at a hospital laboratory, obsessing over his experiments.
So same as the
I
Blame John
suppose he
ending.
seeks solace in the empirical truth of a chemical test. I am afraid for him. His evenings are spent alone, solving citizens' menial mysteries to pass the time. And I suspect he is growing paranoid. One of my agent's vehicles recently ignited during a surveillance operation. She was lucky to get out alive. There is only one man who could orchestrate such a feat. Or perhaps two. I saved my brother. He will never forgive me.
So far, even though it lacks the, how do I put it? acknowledging his role that the other two endings had.
I found it!
This feels better. Like a more, I don't know if it's intended, but a more good, more accomplished ending, this one.
Well,
Depending more onto Mycroft ending. But anyway. That is it. I am afraid. The game has been done. There is nothing left but a couple of side cases, some treasure hunts, and bandit layers. It's a good game. I enjoyed it. Definitely does have some rough edges. But it is competently made and it gave me some enjoyment, so I'll rank it above the Council. That initial, will this be better than the Council or not? Will I have fun with it? It is. I did. So for now, who am I going to toss you guys onto? Not sure what, if any, we'll do for next week, because I thought this was going to make a longer thing. And have been surprised that it is, what, 1 week into it? But oh well, can't be helped. I think what I'll do is toss you guys on over to Duke Donuts. Who is playing video games and maybe a Chef's Choice unboxing, who knows? Well, Duke is cool. He used to work Pandemic after all. So I'm sure you guys would enjoy him. Early end, but the game's been done, saw 3 endings. It's a good place to end it. Enjoy the rest of your night and your weekend. Take care of yourselves. And see you folks around.